Oh dear. It's been some time. So it has. Anyway. Etemen Ænka? Ænka? Oh god, this is a wonderful start. It's an album by Dvne. Don't know why there's a V in there. Kind of edgy. But it is an album. It came out this year. And it's not the kind of thing that I would normally go straight for. It's very raw and unrefined in a way that I generally don't get attracted to, I guess, all that much. There's certainly production decisions, issues. I feel like issues is probably too strong of a word here. Decisions that I feel I would not have made given the choice. But as I talk more, I will actually probably be praising it quite a lot, even if it's not the kind of thing that I'd go for. It's too, I guess, thin sounding in some places for me. But not for me, because for me as in the ideal me, I guess, but not the actual me. Does that make sense? I guess it makes sense. It should make sense. I hope it makes sense. Oh dear. But there is something about this album, something special, something unique. I'm sure there's some 70s metal band that takes heavy influences from that I've never heard of. And if there is, this is better than that, I don't care. There's something addictive about this sound, something compelling that makes me keep wanting to come back over and over and over again. I feel like even if I could point to one singular thing, I probably wouldn't be able to do that singular thing justice. It is an overarching package that just works. The only concrete criticism I suppose I'd give right off the bat would be straight into the mix and with the clean vocals. They're very far back. I'd much rather they were further forward because they make the right instrumental choices to push the instruments back often to give the vocals more space when they're needed, and they push them forward to create that wall of sound that's so important in metal when that's needed as well. But the growls are mixed excellently. The cleans are just a little weak, and I want to hear more of it. I also want to hear more female vocals. They appear on, I believe, 3 songs primarily. Asphodel is the primary one, but they're also on Weighing of the Heart and Omega Severa, I believe. It's brilliant, and I want to hear more of it. There's a sort of primal knowingness to it that I want to hear more of, and more specifically in the metal sections. Like the best section of Omega Severa is the section with the female vocals, so I'd like to see more of that. But outside of that, there's nothing wrong with this album. The flow is extraordinarily well done. I can't point to another album I've listened to this year which even comes close to narrative flow and tempo and pacing as this album does. There's a reason this is my most listened to album of the year, despite the fact that it is very harsh and aggressive. It just never seems to get old. In no small part to just how many unbelievable guitar riffs there are on this album. So my initial thought was, I've not heard something like this since Ghost Reveries by Opeth, but actually I think it goes further back. I think you could say there haven't been this many since Blackwater Park even. It's just every single song has like 4 great riffs, and that's unbelievably impressive. I can't overstate how unique that is. There are so many albums of this type that I've listened to where my primary criticism has been, the primary reason I don't like it even, has been the riffs get boring. But they just never do here. Maybe that's just me, maybe that's just my preference, I guess, but they never seem to miss with the riffs, and that's something that I think is extraordinarily hard to do and deserves a lot of praise. However, the prime example of this would be Court of the Matriarch, which has one of the best riffs I've ever heard on it. It's certainly the crowning jewel on the album. But I'm actually not going to talk too much about that, because I will be talking about it again soon. Instead, I'm going to move over to the drums, because I often find myself with metal albums either going, oh my god, these drums are amazing, they're so well played, they're so perfect in the mix, or I end up going, ooh, those drums are awful, they're ruining everything. Here, the drums are not perfectly played. These aren't mechanical, like precision drums that you'd hear on Opeth or a Dream Theater. These are a little bit loose, they're a little bit scruffy, and they're quite tinny. And these are two things that normally I would not like at all. These are things that would turn me off of an album. But they don't. They don't, and there's something, again, that X factor this whole album has of just perfect energy. That feeling of knowing when to push forward and when to hold back, when to maintain. And I feel like you can't teach that, especially not as far as instrumentation is concerned. That's a philosophy, a style. But where was I? Oh yes, drum sound. Drum sound is good. No, wait, pacing is good too. Keys are like the drums, very good. Kind of also like the vocals, far back, but this time it's good, not bad. Hang on, wait, I'll get there. I quite like how far back the keys are. Unlike the vocals, the keys feel more naturally far back, like they should be there, supporting the riffs instead of getting in the way. I think that it works really well in tandem with the guitars, which I think a lot of metal bands with keyboards in mess up. I've already mentioned Opeth and Dream Theater, and I think they both have issues with their keys clashing with their guitars, particularly on more recent stuff for Opeth. But this is done well. It's far back, very tasteful, not in your face, and they sort of move into the areas where other sounds aren't. Speaking of, I might as well touch on the final instrument used, which is the bass. The bass is quite unnoticeable most of the time. I would like it to be a little bit more on occasion, but when it is there, when it is noticeable, it is excellent. Really fat and punchy. Wish I could hear it more. And that sort of rounds it off of the final quandary with this album, and that's the mix. All these things about the mix that I'm not quite sure about all come together in such a beautiful way, and it makes me wonder if maybe the mix itself is actually very good. Maybe this isn't a case of things could be done better. Maybe this is a case of these things have to be this way for the album to be as good as it is. I honestly don't know, and I'm fascinated to learn more, I guess. It's something that I want to know the answer to, because it's something that you hear a lot about with metal albums, is how difficult they are to mix. I'd love to have a conversation with the mixer of this album. Probably should have looked that up. Now that I think about it, didn't do that. Kind of dumb of me. So all in all then, we have an album which I'm not sure about the production, I'm not sure about the drum sound, I'm not sure about I haven't even mentioned the guitar sound. Guitar sound's really good. But again, can be a little bit thin on the high end, so I'm not sure about that. Not sure about the clean vocals, but with all these things that I'm not sure about, I feel like if I was given the task of tampering with them, I would inevitably ruin it. And I feel like that might even be the case with great mixers, not just some random arsehole, you know? This album is perfectly balanced in a way which I very much admire and would love to know the secret of, please. But, well, TLDL, it's very good. Listen to the album. Listen to the full album, all the way through. That is the best way, I feel, to experience this album, which is something I don't say a lot about albums. I think that generally I enjoy listening to individual tracks more than I do albums as a whole. There aren't many albums that I feel compelled to listen to in full, but this is one of them. It is a fantastic total journey and possibly my album of the year. However, there is a contestant. And depending on when I'm scheduling this and how I feel, that video may already be out. Not a clue. If it isn't, then you can look forward to that, because I'm recording that, well, right now, so piss off until next time.